If it's anything like the '90s cartoon, then Emma's gonna win. Cause Jean gonna
Well, they'll
trip.
probably not do that because I think they want to fix, how Jean is perceived.
Oh no, they should definitely keep that going. I want her passing out. I want her screaming. I want her tripping over cables again. Like I want the works. If we're gonna do
It'll.
nostalgia, let's do nostalgia.
I was watching some of it the other day, like I had it on in the background while I was cleaning up,
Mhm.
and they really did have Jean like they kind of played her. At one point, she used her powers and ran and just fell, and like nobody
Yes,
was
she was always just
there.
falling. She was. There's a.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Another Relaunch. I am Rogue, aka Anna Marie. Oh, actually,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's Anna Marie LeBeau. Thank
Oh,
you.
because she's a married woman now. um, hello, everyone. I am Dr. Adam Bashir, aka the Blue Marvel. Check out my
Oh,
new book.
King. I know that's right. Yes. Have you are excited for him to hopefully make a debut in the MCU?
Yes, I am actually. And so you know the guy who they've been talking about is rumored to play him, Shamir Anderson. He is on this show called
Mhm.
Winona Earp. It's a Canadian series. It's like they fight supernatural creatures. Um, I love him from that show. So when they were
Okay.
like, "Oh, he might be in the Marvels as Blue Marvel," I was like, "Oh yeah, I can do that." And then they just released a John Wick trailer over the weekend for SDCC. He's in John Wick 4.
Oh, he's definitely gonna be Blue Marvel then.
I was
I see
exactly.
it.
I was like, oh, they're building him up. Okay, I love that.
Yeah, good for him. Does he look good in it? I didn't see the trailer.
I mean, he's on it for like maybe like two or three shots, and one he's getting stabbed or like beat up. So
What?
it's John Wick.
At least we know he can do the action scenes. That's fine.
That's all that matters. Really quick aside.
And that would make
Speaking of,
him younger.
I know, which is like great because they love making Blue Marvel old. I mean, I guess he should be old. He has like adult,
Yeah.
but still, we're skipping all that.
Yeah.
Um, that's that.
You want to say something about action? Did you see The Gray Man?
Oh, yes, yes, that's exactly what I was going to talk about. The Gray Man. I watched it over
Yeah.
the weekend. Anna de Armas, that's a woman. She
Queen.
had on her business bob, and she was doing exactly what needed to be.
Yes.
We'll support her. We will stand. Chris Evans is
Hmm.
amazing in it. He like honestly kind of steals the show. He's the villain in it. He plays such a
Oh,
charismatic
okay.
actor. Like he's actually a really good actor.
He
I kind
is.
of like he goes up and like good for him. Ryan Gosling's
He
making
done
his
came a
like
long way since Not Another Teen Movie.
okay, like moved on up, and he was just like we love that for him. Ryan Gosling's been in it. He's been doing his press tour, but all they've been asking him about is Barbie, which is fantastic.
I can't wait for that. I'm already like shopping for my pink outfit.
Okay, I got a few. I might go a
I'm
couple of
ready.
times.
I think I'm gonna do a crop top, but like I'm ready to
Ooh,
go see Barbie.
I want to do some like short shorts, and
Hmm.
I definitely want like my shoes to be pink. Like it's
Hmm.
gonna be we're gonna be in there.
Yeah, I'm ready for Barbie. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into the updates of the week. And whew, child, this was a
A
pretty
weekend.
big weekend. Yes, Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con was just this past weekend. It's still technically going on today while we're recording this. But a lot of news came out. Some we expected, some we didn't expect. I will say this, DC, where you at? Like,
It was real quiet for them. I felt so bad.
yeah.
Like it's
I
silent.
mean, what were they gonna do? Oh, they probably were gonna do stuff for the Flash.
Like
Originally, probably planned to do that.
I mean, you could have at least brought the cast of Blue Beetle out or something. They finished filming.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, just talk about the movie. I don't know. I don't know what's going on over there. They don't know what's going on over there. We don't know when we're gonna see it. I saw a rumor that Dua Lipa might be Satana. I'm here for that though.
Dula Peep is gonna be Zatanna.
Yes, Queen. I love
I mean,
it.
she kind of looks the part, I guess, but
Hot girl.
I don't know. She can act. Can she act?
Well, she's
Is she an
going to
actress?
be in 2 movies. This one comes out later this year, and I think the other one comes out next year. So we'll find out.
That's my kind of answer. You just say yes or no. You just said, well, she's gonna be in 2 movies.
There you go.
So you'll figure it out when we get there. Okay, well, let's talk about some of the stuff that came out of San Diego Comic-Con that was pretty hot. First up was we've been talking about the comic Dark Crisis from DC. It's been this event that is, another DC crisis. But turns out that the name is not just Dark Crisis. The name has been revealed to be Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, and it is a direct sequel to the previous Crisis on Infinite Earths, like the iconic one that kind of started everything. I guess they've said that with this current Dark Crisis, Pariah is going to be trying to recreate the Infinite Earths and redoing what happened in the first Crisis with Krona. Now, if anyone remembers, I'm a pretty big Green Lantern fan. In Green Lantern, Krona was one of the original Guardians, like the blue guys. And part of the rules of the universe is that no one is allowed to go and see the beginning of time. Krona didn't care, so he wanted to go see it. And when he did, I think his machine exploded or something, and that caused like a shake. And that shake in the universe like created multiple universes, and that's how you got the multiverse. I guess Pariahs might be trying to do something like that again. I don't know. This to me sounds like they are using this to again try to fix the timeline of DC. I think that's why we've been seeing recently with the Justice Society kind of coming back. I think they're gonna like try to use this to kind of weave everybody back into the current timeline. How do you feel about like the title reveal?
Oh, I felt nothing over the title reveal. That just kind of feels like more you throwing stuff to the wall to see what sticks. I feel like everything else about just trying to like fix the timeline, just leave it at this point. Isn't that what Infinite Frontier was supposed to do? And it was kind of just saying like, it's here, do whatever you want, go back in time, blah blah blah. There was an Aquaman story in one of the comics that came out, I want to say last week, and it was kind of like the last Aquaman story. And it talked about the future event, and it showed like his mom and dad renewing their vows. We saw Black Manta and Jackson getting along. We saw Lorena there, just like all these really old characters. And it was just kind of like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like, that's the point of what this new continuity is. It's kind of everybody's back, just do whatever. Just lean into it. It's your thing.
Yeah, I think they should just stop trying to fix it at this point. Just we all know it's broken. It is what it is. Just keep everything moving forward.
It's not even the same toy
anymore. I mean, I'd rather they just like, I don't know, keep playing with this toy instead of just going to the store and getting another one and trying to pretend like they're like, let's forget it. We'll see what's going on with Dark Crisis. I did think it was interesting that they changed the title, like no one knew. I think that's kind of cool. With the way the internet and stuff like that kind of works, like everything gets out so quickly. And it's hard to still keep surprises. So I thought it was kind of cool to surprise shop everyone, like, oh, this thing you've been reading was actually called this. So I thought it was kind of cool. Another announcement that came out for a new book coming is the Fantastic Four will be getting a relaunch, as they called it, with a new creative team coming in November. And all that was told was there is this picture of a compass, and the writer is above north and artist is above south. However, the compass is pointing with north pointing west and south is east. So they've left it up to fans to kind of figure out who those people are. I'm not sure who any of those people are, but I'm excited for a relaunch of the Fantastic Four. And for Marvel to be calling it a relaunch, sounds to me like they were like, we're just gonna let that whole slot run, just like let it go. we're gonna bring someone in to kind of change all this stuff. I probably think they're going to re-retcon Franklin into being a mutant again. So I think I'm excited for whoever they have to come in and do this next run of the Fantastic.
Okay.
There was also a Hickman and Schiti announcement, and all that was said was what happens when the powers that be meet the natural order of things. And suppose it's going to be some new thing coming in 2023 from Hickman and Schiti. It sounds to me like it might be a magic versus science thing, or I'm sorry, magic versus cosmic thing. To me, when it's the powers that be, sounds like you know, magic, and natural order sounds like cosmic. Or maybe reversed.
I was about to say, I think I see it the other way.
Actually, yeah.
But
I said that wrong. Yeah.
but I get what you're saying. If magic's involved, I might tune in. The announcement, I'm not gonna lie, it didn't really move me. I think a lot of Hickman stuff, and I say this in a good way, I think a lot of it tends to be kind of the same story over and over again. And so if it involves my favorite characters or anybody who I really enjoy, yeah, I'm there. If not, I'll wait. Shout out to Schiti.
We also got
making
Yeah, I really enjoy his art, and his designs are really cool. He does some fantastic designs of characters, so whatever this is gonna at least gonna look great. So we'll see what happens next year in 2023 when that comes out. There was also the more news on Spider-Man Freshman Year, which is an original animated series coming from Marvel, which will be released in 2024. Now, originally, when this show was announced, they were marketing this as connected into the MCU, where this was going to be an animated series, but it would tell you the freshman year adventures of Peter Parker that we saw in the Spider-Man MCU movies. But now, with everything that's come out, I think they completely kind of abandoned that idea, because Nico Minoru is going to be his best friend. The Osborns are in it, but they look black.
So they got a black Norman.
Yeah, so I think that it's just a completely new show, and there's been some screenshots and stuff that have come out of Hall H showing his new costume, as well as the other kind of villains that are in it. I saw some Scorpion is in it, so that's kind of cool. I'm excited for it. I'll probably watch it. I like Spider-Man. We'll see. It's probably just another cool Spider-Man show. I know that the creators were fans of Spectacular Spider-Man, which is a recent iteration of the Spider-Man cartoon, which I know a lot of fans really liked. So if they were fans of that, I expect it to be pretty good. So
I'll definitely look at some clips online. I want to see what goes on.
I think it'll be interesting to see her as like the best friend of Peter Parker. I've seen some people kind of wondering, if this was, listen, people can have their opinions about Peter Parker and Spider-Man, but he sells. And I've always said, if you want your favorite character to be pushed, put them around one of those like tentpole characters. So to me, this feels like they're really trying to push Nico by putting her right next to Peter Parker. So I'm wondering, and there was some stuff about like a Midnight Suns being registered by Marvel for like trademark purposes and everything. I think they might be building up Nico to be like the magic girl of the.
Love that for her. She's got it.
Supernatural.
She's got it.
Yeah. So there were also some DC announcements that came out in animation as well. They announced a slate of animated movies coming out in 2023. There was RWBY, Justice League, Batman, The Doom That Came to Gotham. We got to get you another Batman movie. And there's Legion of Superheroes, which is an animated movie I'm super excited for. I love them. And Justice League War World. Now, if this is anything like Action Comics War World, I'm all in.
That gagged me. I was like, oh, they doing War World already? I was like, wait, does that mean I'm going to get Midnighter and Apollo? Because I'll be here for that. And Natasha Irons, yes, I'm here for that. I also, I'm a big fan of Ruby, too. So I'm into the Ruby Justice League one. I know they do a lot of comics with them. I've never read any of them, but the show is dope itself. So, and they just released a new anime.
Yeah. That'll be fun. I think that'll be a lot of fun, especially at the movie with the Justice League there too. I'm excited for the World movie, but I hope that they don't replace the Authority with the Justice League.
Oh yeah, that'll piss me off.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I hope they don't do that, because I want Apollo and the rest of them. That was a really good story. So we'll see what happens with DC. But DC animated movies are, for the most part, fairly good. They've been trying some new things as far as their animation goes.
And I like their new animation style a lot.
It's different. I like it. It's very bold, very dark, heavy lines. But we'll see. So on the movie front, DC did show a trailer for Shazam 2, as well as another trailer for Black Adam. And Shazam, I don't know. Did you like it?
I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't watch it. I saw I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched the first 30 seconds of it, and I was like, I'm not really moved. But then I have a friend who was sitting next to me, and he watched it, so I heard what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's Shazam: Fury of the Gods, and
Shazam doesn't really do it.
Shazam's. That's fair.
And I honestly, I think the first one was cute, but
it was whatever. That's kind of how I felt about it too.
That's really all I got. It was cute.
Yeah, it looked like this one has a bit of a bigger budget. Their costumes look nice, but it looks like all of the kids still have their powers, and they have just been being superheroes.
This has to be the last one, though, I assume, right? Because the whole thing about Shazam is that he's actually a little boy, Billy Batson, that turns into the big strong guy. But it's at a certain point that little boy's gonna get too old.
Exactly. And I mean, he definitely looks older in this one, as he's supposed to, because I'm assuming time just has moved on in the movie. But he can't be this young forever. So, but I mean, we've already said that I think DC needs to kind of clear the deck anyway and just
it's getting there.
Start fresh.
They didn't release anything, so honestly, I feel like maybe that might be the plan.
Well, they had this Black Adam trailer, which came out of Comic-Con, and I will say that kind of like what happened with the last trailer, it looks like a movie with The Rock. Dr. Fate looked cool.
The JSA, baby. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm gonna be there. I'm not saying anything bad about it. It is what it is.
His Black Adam's lightning looked a little cheap. It was giving Storm in Dark Phoenix.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh, you don't need to. Okay, switching over to some of what Marvel announced. Just going to zoom through these really quickly. They announced a What If Season 2, which will come out in early 2023. Marvel Zombies will come out in 2024. And X-Men 97, which will be a continuation of the original X-Men 90 series and will be out in fall 2023. It also was already ordered for Season 2. So,
can I just say, I don't know if you saw, there was a little clip of when they were doing the reveal of the cast for the show, and the people were clapping for it. And I was watching that, what is everybody clapping for? And why do they do this slow one-by-one reveal when it is the exact same cast wearing the exact same thing? I was like, you didn't even update the suits. You couldn't have tweaked it a little bit to make it a little bit of something. It was just no, here's these characters.
They gave Storm that mohawk. So I guess they did do a little tweaking.
Oh my gosh, it was so I don't know.
The cheering was wild because they got silent when they got to G.
They got it really quiet.
Which was wild because, again, like you said, it was the same group of people they knew 30 years ago when the show was on.
And it was just oh, okay. You just should I just would have been oh, this is just a picture from the 90s.
Right. But the levels of who they cheered for was wild.
It was because the order was strange, because then they made them pause and get real quiet, and then they showed Jubilee.
And why was she a last reveal? Oh my God, Jubilee is here. We didn't already know that.
There was one tweet. It was like, "Ooh, y'all in line crying for Kaya."
That girl crying for Kaya is funny.
Oh man,
If y'all have not seen that, definitely check that out. But are you excited for X-Men 97? Are you going to watch it? They also showed the villains for the show, which were going to be Mr. Sinister, Val Cooper, Emma Frost will be a villain.
her calling.
Yeah. So, and as well as a range of other characters will be in it. Magneto will be leading the X-Men now. He's in his purple costume with the big M on the front. There's also going to be new additions added to the roster: Sunspot, Cable, and no other women. So
At all.
that was no.
I don't know. I wasn't like the whole idea of X-Men 97 like wasn't super exciting to me in the first place. Seeing like the reveal, I'll probably check out the first 2 episodes, but also I don't think I like Disney's animation style or the Marvel Studios animation style. So if it feels like it's gonna be kind of similar to like that What If and like those scenes and how that was, I probably won't.
You know, looking at the concept art that they put out, it might end up looking like What If.
Yeah, and that's what I'm fearful of. Because I'm sorry, I really do not enjoy What If. That animation.
The girls are gonna get their Jean versus Emma.
If it's anything like the '90s cartoon, then Emma's gonna win. Cause Jean gonna
they'll
trip.
probably not do that because I think they want to fix, how Jean is perceived.
Oh no, they should definitely keep that going. I want her passing out. I want her screaming. I want her tripping over cables again. Like I want the works. If we're gonna do nostalgia, let's do nostalgia.
I was watching some of it the other day, like I had it on in the background while I was cleaning up, and they really did have Jean they kind of played her. At one point, she used her powers and ran and just fell, and nobody was there.
Oh, she's falling. There's a YouTube clip. I highly recommend everybody go and look it up. There's like a YouTube clip of all the times that Jean was just falling in the '90s cartoon, and they show her in this mall when Mojo is kidnapping the team, and she's getting away, and then she just trips over this extension cord, and it's just right before she hits the ground, he grabs her, falling. It's great. That's Jean.
Poor thing. I think that is that video. Isn't that the one called Jean is Useless? Because someone had to come up with a rebuttal that was Jean is useful and tried to put a clip of all of the time she was great in it. Check that out on YouTube, y'all. It's pretty funny. But okay, switching over to back to some comic news. There was some more nostalgic X-Men stuff coming out. Extreme X-Men will be coming back, and it will be written by Chris Claremont with art by Salvador Larroca, and it'll be a follow-up to the previous Extreme X-Men run that he did, I think, in the early 2000s. So there had already been rumors that Claremont was coming back, and people were wondering if it was going to be a Krakoa book, or if he was going to get a spin-off, kind of like that X-Men Forever kind of thing before. But I was not expecting a sequel to Extreme X-Men. It'll be fun to go visit that era again, but I guess I wanted something current.
Yeah, I like Extreme X-Men, but again, agreed. I would have preferred him on Krakoa for the match. Yeah. And I don't know, this may lead into something else, so he might still do something.
Yeah, it's a 5-issue miniseries, so who knows what it'll evolve into.
We'll see. But oh well. It'll be nice.
Yeah, have some fresh writers on the squad. They need it. There were also the Eisners that came out of San Diego Comic-Con, which were basically, like I said before, they are the the Oscars or the Grammys of comic books. And some pretty big nominations, some pretty big wins. I won't go through all of them, but some some major ones were Best Single Issue or One Shot, and the nominations or Marvel's Voices Identity #1, Mouse Guard, Nightwing #87, Wolven Daughter, and Wonder Woman Hysteria, which was the winner, and Historia. And shout out to Kelly Sue DeConnick and Phil Jimenez for that, because that Ooh,
Dream team right there. They did
and
that.
that was an epic comic book. Yeah. Going through some of the other winners for best continuing series, the winner was Bitterroot.
Congrats
by
to
David
them.
Walker,
Very
Chuck
well
Brown,
deserved.
and Separate Green. Definitely congrats to them. They definitely deserve that. Best limited series was The Good Asian by Pornsack, and best new series was The Nice House on the Lake by James Tynion.
And I've heard very good things about. I've heard very good things about both of those, so that's not surprising.
Yeah, I thought that was fantastic. I know he's a really great writer. I liked some of his Batman issues. So
he did. Justice
I think his
League
indie
Dark.
stuff will be pretty
That's
good
a hit.
for sure. Best writer, the nominees were Ed Brubaker, Kelly Sue DeConnick, Felipe Melo, Ram V, and the winner was James Tynion the fourth. And they listed all of his other projects. Shout out to him. Best penciler were the nominees were Felipe Andrade, Phil Jimenez, Bruno Redondo, Isaiah Ribic, and P. Craig Russell. And the winner was Phil Jimenez.
King. Deserved. And he gave him a really nice speech too. If you like are online, you should go look that up. It was very heartfelt, very warm.
Yeah.
He's like he if you follow him on like social medias and stuff like that, he seems like a very warm, genuine man. He wants to help people come into this industry. He like still loves to draw. He loves his superheroes. Just you like when you see passion like that in the project.
Exactly. You really feel like his love of the medium and of these characters. And he's always Team Starfire, so shout out to that.
He's got good
Okay, so now switching over to the MCU announcements that came out. Now, these were pretty big. They ranged all over. Starting with Kevin Feige officially announcing that the Phase 4 will be ending with Wakanda Forever, which comes out this November.
Praise.
It was time. I think most people would not think the best time with Phase 4 right now. It's been a little wobbly. It's been wobbly since Black Widow. It's been up and down.
Yeah. And people really don't like Black Widow. I don't know. I had fun with it. I thought it was cool.
Yelena's cool. Yelena's really cool. But they did announce that the end of Phase 4 will be Wakanda Forever. So let's just go ahead and get into Wakanda Forever.
Beautiful trailer. Beautiful trailer. Took my breath away.
I have never watched a trailer like that many times in a row. I woke up and watched it this morning because I was thinking about it.
It's probably Marvel's best trailer so far. And that's not even trying
by
to
far
use hyperbole or anything like that. But when you think about trailers, I think Infinity War had a really good trailer. I think who else had a really good trailer? Winter Soldier, I thought, had a good trailer. There have been some good trailers, but this one, man. Just I truly got chills watching it. The music choice, the emotion that was carried through, the lighting. Namor, he looks good.
Namor, Daddy. Wow.
He looks good. Whoever
his little ankle wings.
And I don't even like the ankle wings. I think they're ridiculous. And I was like, yes, ankle wings. Whoever decided that they were going to tie Marvel's Atlantean culture into Mayan Aztec culture was I hope they got a raise. And
fantastic.
What an idea. Because those Atlanteans look fantastic.
They looked at the comics and were like, we got to do something. Because
it's not clicking. It's not working. That whole scene of him with his headdress on and he's just floating down in the water. I was like, yes. This is a man that I can stand behind.
And all those blue Atlanteans looked really cool with all the different headdresses. Oh my gosh, when they were showing that one really fast scene of all of the, I think it's Namora, and I think Atuma is also there, and the Atlanteans, and they were on the street, and you could see them with their breathers on their face, their water breathers. That's cool. Really cool.
Also, I wonder how they're going to do it because while we see Namor as obviously human looking and they're blue, there was a quick shot of Namora where she also had a human look as well. So I wonder if that's going to be something.
Well, I think isn't she also half human?
I don't know. Namora and Namorita are different characters, aren't they?
Yes.
So Namorita was the one in New Warriors.
Yes.
So that's the one I know I don't like. I thought she was like
Namora is the blue one. She cool.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Namora be ready to fight. She's the one that's I've only ever seen her be blue, but I think she also might be like half human or something like that.
See, and I thought that was Namorita. We'll look at it. We'll find out. But the movie itself looked great. He looked great. I loved everything about it. I'm really excited. I do think that is Shuri at the end as the new Black Panther. So that's that. I expect to be very emotional because it does seem like they're going to like kill T'Challa off in the movie. So I expect that to like really kind of get me when I'm actually in the theater seeing it. I thought Riri as Ironheart was looking cute. Her in the moment with her and Shuri like dapping each other was nice. We saw Lupita. We saw Michaela Coel as Captain Anika with the Midnight Angels. They're
Queen.
coming. I'm here to stand, and like hopefully like at D23 they announce their show or give us some stuff from that because I definitely want to see more of her. We saw all the girls working. I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna be a really nice way to end Phase 4.
I agree. I think that I don't think that Namor is like the main villain. I do think there's a third antagonist, and I do think it's Doom. I think that they announced, we'll talk about this shortly, but like they announced the Fantastic Four will be opening the Phase 6 as well as some of the other movies that they announced. And I get the feeling that they also didn't announce any like X-Men related stuff. And I get the feeling that not only the Fantastic Four, but mutants as well will be these like after credit scene, we're going to sprinkle them in kind of thing. And as we build to them. Because I don't think that the Fantastic Four movie will be an origin movie. I think that we would have already known them by the time we get there.
I kind of hope so. I don't think I need any more origin movies, but I agree with you also about the mutants and everything. They announced that there's gonna the third Guardians movie, which will also be the final Guardians movie, winning again.
Yes,
they announced that the High
I just need y'all to they do not represent the comic point, okay?
That is not like Star-Lord in the comics, you guys. I promise you. Like if you want some good Peter Quill content, let me know because I will point you in the right direction. Do not believe what the MCU has told you because that is not the man who we know and love.
That's not how we do it up in the stars. Okay. Thank you. Continue. Sorry.
But no, they said the High Evolutionary is going to be in that one as the villain. I mean, he came out in his suit too. That was a little awkward though. It looked weird in the picture. The body
it did a little bit.
Of the cast was like not there with that, so I was like, okay. But he came out. I thought that was
the actor is Chakawudi Wuji. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Yes, and he's going to be the High Evolutionary. You know that always means mutants.
Always. So it's like I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot of them. Even though they didn't announce it, they announced one of those new big Avengers movies for a later phase. And I'm pretty sure we will see an abundance of mutants, maybe even calling themselves the X-Men in those movies, even if they don't have their own projects by that time.
Oh, for sure. So getting into the Phase 5 announcements that came out, I'll kind of run through these. We have Ant-Man Quantumania, which will be out in February 17th, 2023. Secret Invasion in spring of 2023. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in May 5th of 2023. Echo, which will be in summer of 2023. Loki, summer of 2023. The Marvels, which will be July 28th, 2023. Blade, November 3rd, 2023. Ironheart, which will also come out in the fall of 2023. Agatha and the Coven of Chaos, which I think they changed the name there, will be out in the winter of 2023 or early 2024. Daredevil, Born Again, will be out in the spring of 2023.
Hold on. Before we move any further, can we just say thank you to the almighty comic gods for returning Charlie Cox to us?
You know what? I have to say that y'all did that.
Like,
because that's how you get it. That's how you get it. The fans wanted that to happen, and they weren't nasty like some other fans are trying to get something a special cut released. They just begged for Charlie Cox to come back.
Every petition that we put out, every campaign that we ran, all of the tweets, all of the videos, constantly reposting those hallways fight scenes, the hashtag, like Charlie himself just being such an advocate for returning as well. He's such a good man. He deserves such good things. Thank you to everyone who's involved in that. And we're getting 18 episodes. We probably don't even have to see that lady come back, which I think will be fantastic. And
now, why you gotta do that? Why you gotta do that? She's gonna be there.
She doesn't need so Matt has like 60 girlfriends. Like, she's really not that.
Yeah, but she is the girlfriend.
She's really not that. We can like talk about somebody else. It's fine. Unless
she comes around.
Maybe if they recast her as Ana de Armas, I might be into it.
They might end up recasting her. I don't know what they're going to do with that cast, actually. Because it seems as though he, specifically Charlie Cox, is the only one that's saving from the Netflix shows.
And Kingpin.
Everybody getting recast. And Kingpin, yes.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I did see that Elodie Young, who played Elektra, she did comment on the post. Like she was super excited for it. I don't know if they're going to bring her back. I didn't necessarily hate Elektra in the Netflix series, but I didn't necessarily like the way she was written either. I don't think Elodie Young was a terrible Elektra. I think she just
beautiful woman. She looked great.
Gorgeous. When she ripped her dress to get ready to fight. Yes.
Yeah. But Elektra, no. We'll see though. We've got some
Elektra, yes. She'll be there. Ain't no way they got 18 episodes and she's not in one of them. So
Karen gonna take up all the space.
Doesn't she die?
She does.
Okay, continuing on with the rest of the slate. Captain America: New World will be out in May 3rd, 2024. And the end of Phase 5 will be Thunderbolt out July 6th, 2024. So it seems as though this next Phase 5 is a lot of street level stuff. A lot of we've been talking about, the MCU for a while on this show, and anytime I bring them up, I always say that it doesn't seem like they're building towards like a main one villain, but like all these lanes are kind of being built out as well. And it seems like they're going to be doing a lot more of that as they move forward. So Phase 5 seems to be a lot of the street level stuff, as well as some magic, some cosmic stuff in there, but still a lot more of the street level characters. And then they also announced Phase 6. They did not stop. I think they really wanted people to calm down and let everybody know exactly where they were going to be going with stuff. So they announced that the Fantastic Four will be opening the Phase 6 and will be out November 6th, 2024, as well as Avengers Kang Dynasty will be out May 2nd, 2025, and Avengers Secret Wars will be out November 7th, 2025. Now, from the looks of it, it looks like there are about maybe 6 other projects that could have fit on this timeline, which makes me think that the rest of them are going to be revealed at D23.
I expect a few more shows. I expect like the Midnight Angels. I expect maybe something with Black Knight, Midnight Suns.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see. I'm excited for it though. This Big Mama's coming, so I'm excited to see Susan make her debut, and the Fantastic Four debuting first with the Phase 6, and Kang Dynasty as well as Secret Wars is happening towards the end of Phase 6. Means that like I'm gonna get the Fantastic Four in Avengers movies, which will be really cool.
Yeah. And it's like their people they're fighting. Kang.
Yeah, exactly. So like once we see Kang out there, I figured the Fantastic Four would come. Speaking of, Doom is the
main villain at D23, a Doom casting.
Oh. I didn't even think about that. I figured it would be the whole Fantastic Four because they've already announced that they'll be filming that next year.
I could see them doing the whole thing then if that's the case, but I definitely
are. You're probably right. Oh, Doom. Doom is my favorite Marvel villain. So like they gotta do him right. Like that's the king. So I really hope that he gets to show out and stuff. I do think that he is going to remain the villain of Secret Wars as he was in the comics, but I don't know if they're going to follow it directly and include like the Beyonder and all that kind of stuff. I think Doom is probably going to get his like cosmic extra power where he's the villain from Kang. I think it'll be Doom versus Kang.
Ooh. That means they gotta get somebody who can act, because Jonathan is Kang.
Yes.
I'm sorry, he's clearing.
So I'm not sure if anybody had heard any of the clips that premiered or like leaked out of Comic-Con, but I guess during it they did bring out Jonathan Majors as Kang, and he like talked in his Kang voice. They even confirmed that he will be in the blue and green costume. I'm sure he's even got the thigh-high boots, but they did say he won't be. So I'm okay with that though.
I'm ready.
Yeah, they say he won't be blue, but they also said that I guess he runs into Ant-Man, and Ant-Man says, you know, like, I'm an Avenger, and Kang says, you're an Avenger. Have I killed you before? So in like a very menacing voice. So if you guys see that leak, go ahead and check it out. But I am super excited for Kang. You know, I hate time travel because it gets like confusing and like convoluted. But Kang is dope. Kang is cool. Kang is cool. I think he's like the only like time traveling character that is allowed on my list. I like him. He's cool. They did also confirm that phases 4, 5, and 6 together will be known as the multiverse saga. So this is why we've been getting like hints at all this multiverse stuff. Definitely assume that means that probably Hugh Jackman, it will be in Secret Wars, or like they're definitely gonna fill that with cameos from whatever.
Famke Jean, she's coming back.
Oh, do you think they're gonna bring Halle back as Storm?
Oh, don't do that. I love Halle, but no, we can't do that. You know, and you know, she's always talking about like, yeah, I'd love to come back as Storm. I wouldn't mind throwing the wig back on. Sister, we gotta let that just leave it alone.
I think this might be the way to like
cut that.
Be done with it, cut it all off and be done with it. The same way that they used Xavier in Multiverse of Madness. I think that let's like we'll have a cameo and then this will be it. Like you never need to see them again.
We don't want to do that. Just let my sister Jodie Smith walk up on the scene in her white wig and be done with it.
Well, I don't want her in Secret Wars because I don't know if a lot of people are making it out of that.
I think the mutants will. And that's how we start their phase 7. Like, ooh,
I agree.
Here we go.
I agree, but I don't want like. I don't know. I think I will want new actors and everything for this, and I think any characters that we know will be like pulled from something else because it's Secret Wars and like the multiverse.
I see what you're saying. I see that for a lot of other ones. I don't know if I see that for the mutants, because again, I think by the time Secret Wars comes around, we'll have already had introductions to most of them.
I agree. I think that we'll get some like that they exist, but I don't know if they'll be like superheroes yet.
I think Kamala and Namor and
she is mute now, so
I think that is just so funny to me. Like, wow, good for her though. But you know, I think as they start to meet the other mutants in the MCU, it'll be like a big thing, and they'll be like, oh, you know, we gotta call our people over, we gotta do whatever, and then they'll go.
I hope so. In the original Secret Wars, the mutants didn't want to get involved. They were like, we don't really. It was like Xavier who was like, no, we don't need to pick sides. We're just gonna be off on the side and kick it.
A smart man.
I hope that they kind of merge both the '80s Secret Wars and the 2015 Secret Wars. Both of those are really great to me. I loved it. For the first one, yes, I know people talk about it just being used to sell action figures because that's basically what it was. Your favorite action figures just fighting each other, but that's fun. And the second one, it does have a lot more weight to it, and the story is significantly better in my opinion. But I think they both can be done.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll see. A lot of information coming out of San Diego Comic-Con. Tickets out to see. Definitely on our Twitter and everything. So we've been talking about on those trailers and everything. But let's go ahead and take a break, and then we'll come right back.
Cool. everyone. Welcome back to the comic section of the show. Just like SDCC, it was also like a very big week for comics, for me at least. I don't know. Did you have a big pull as well?
No.
Okay.
Only had one book on my pull this week, and it was just
Oh
Judgment
wow.
Day.
Well, maybe you'll hear about some things today, and you'll be able to pick something up because there were some bangers. I actually before we have like 3 main books that I want to talk about today, but I do want to do like a quick mention of a few. She-Hulk #5 came out. It continues the story of She-Hulk and Jack of Hearts. Like it's like specifically made for me though. I don't think anybody else is really enjoying it that much.
Oh no, people don't like her with Jack.
I guess not. I love it though. It works for me. I will say it also feels a little bit decompressed at times. But again, I know the numbering and how long the issue was supposed to go or how long the book was supposed to go along has changed and fluctuated. So I don't know if that has something to do with it as well. Avengers 58 came out. That continues to be like big superhero action with them. They fought like a Ghost Rider Ronin this issue, which was quite possibly one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my comic book. So like Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings #1 came out. That's the continuation of the last series. If you remember, I told you he got the 10 rings at the end of that, so his MCU-ification is beginning over there. Artemis Wanted #1 all the time. That came out. That's more fallout from Trial of the Amazons. You know, Artemis was the one who killed Hippolyta, so like Donna and Cassie are going after her, and like we see like some stuff about Artemis and things that she's going through. We get like some really fun flashbacks. Hippolyta comes out. She's a stunt queen because she planned her whole death for all of these reasons, and we're just continuing.
Still alive?
She's about to become a goddess, enjoying Mount Olympus.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was all her plan. It was like whatever. But that was really good. Batman the Knight is something I've been recommending to people. It's like quietly been like an extremely fun Batman series. It's basically his training years. It's the
this is Zdarsky, right?
Yes, Zdarsky and Gia Domenico is doing the art, and like they kill it. Like there's been a lot of Batman series that revolve around his training, I feel like, but this one has like this heartfeltness and this warmth to it that we've never seen from Bruce. This issue in particular featured Zatanna and Zatara when like Bruce first learns about magic from them. There's this really cute scene where they're talking about it and he's standing there, he's like, magic is real. And they're like, what? Are you okay? They're like, calm down. Like, and Bruce is like, teach me magic. And Zatara's like, never. And then like we go on from there with Zatanna doing the spell, and like it's really hot. They kind of got the chemistry. I see why Selena be a little pressed when Z pops up.
Yeah.
And then Moon Knight Black, White, and Blood also had its 3rd issue, which is just like a bunch of little vignettes of Moon Knight, and like it's all black and white except for red portions of color that are going through. Something I think folks should pick up as well. The next issue has a cover by Rod Rice. It looks amazing. I actually want a poster of him. But those are some quick tops. We'll start with the big books. The first one I want to talk about is Defenders Beyond #1, and that comes from Al Ewing and Javier Rodriguez. This is the continuation of Al Ewing's last Defender series that was Strange and that girl from the future and in America and all of them. This one features a new cast of characters. Loki and some of the folks from the last one do show back up. America's here. Tigra is around for some reason, but literally like the way Tigra pops up, it's so funny. What happens is Stephen Strange casts a spell that is basically his last will and testament, and it goes to Blue Marvel, and it's telling him that someone needs to do what Strange was doing on the last run of this team, and that's like protecting the cosmos and all this stuff. And so Blue Marvel's like, I'm gonna do it, but not because you told me to. He's like, because I know it needs to get done. And he's like, there's been people before who have tried to use my power for their own means, and it does not work out well for them, and nobody else is going to do this. He's like, the team that I get is going to be a team that I choose because these are people I trust, not because some like floating head is trying to tell me that I'm the best person to do it. But as everything was Strange, there's magic and craziness going on. So like the team kind of falls into place anyway, and he gets stuck with who he is. And Tigra is one of those people. She like just pops through a portal, and she's like, I was just walking in the park. Now I'm here. I'm just like, that's literally Tigra's existence. But all in all, The book is that, and then they go through. They end up running into the Beyonder by the end of the issue. Again, Javier Rodriguez art like shines throughout. He does like really cool panel layout. I've been saying for a while that like while I love Blue Marvel, I think he needed new visuals because I feel like a lot of the stuff that we've seen in him is old or it's like just not the best quality. And he needed something like really dynamic and bold and bright. I think that fits his character and his aesthetic, and that's exactly what this book does. He looks so good throughout. It's really nice to see him kind of take on this leadership role and be like, okay, the Defenders is my team. He even says it in the book. He's like, I already look into other realities and look into other universes. He's like, I've discovered a few of them myself. He's like, who else is better to do this job than me? And so, like, yeah. And I'm like, I know that's right. So
I love him. So is this going like, we've talked before, and I think it was it was Al Ewing's interview that he had about like Marvel Space versus Marvel Cosmic and the differences between the two, where how Marvel Space was, Thanos coming to a planet and taking it over versus Marvel Cosmic is Thanos like talking with death and other like conceptual like characters like that. Is this more space or cosmic?
It's definitely gonna be cosmic. I feel like what he built on in the first Defenders was very cosmic, very broad. It kind of gets into that like Ultimates type of stuff where you don't really know if you're sure what's going on 100%. So you might have
yes.
times, but you're just like, damn, it looks good. So it's like that helps. I do feel like that's kind of where this is going, but it feels a lot more toned down. Like I understood everything that was happening in this issue, and I think again that's because it's more from the Blue Marvel side and his POV, and I feel like he is a very straightforward character. Again, he's looking at it from a very scientific, logical point. So it's like this is what it is versus Eternity talking about like the cosmos, or like Strange talking about magic in the 10th dimension of the ninth realm of like the fifth universe. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how it continues on, but I'm definitely like I'm a lot more excited for it. I really love the art again. I like the story. I like seeing Blue Marvel in charge. The team I can kind of do a little bit without. They do talk about America Chavez and her whole retcon of a storyline. If people read her miniseries, that whole origin of her being from a different universe was a lie. She's actually like some girl from like I don't know the Bronx or something, and she has like a sister and something's going on with her sister, so she needs Blue Marvel's help to help her find her, and that takes them on their adventure. But all in all, I'd probably give this like a 4 out of 5. I think it was really solid. I said again, I think a lot of the characterizations were on point, what you expect from Al. I think the art continues to be like the best selling point for this series and the Defenders brand, which I think works for them. It should be like kooky, bold, bright. It works. I liked it. I think if you didn't really care for the first Defenders volume, don't even waste your time. This is still more of that. It probably won't be to your speed. But again, if you want to try it out because it does seem a little bit more streamlined, you should.
Okay. And this is a 5-issue mini?
Yes, it is 5
ongoing?
issues. 5
okay,
issues.
Cool.
But you know how Marvel's been doing lately. If the book's doing good, they might bump it up a few more issues. So buy your books. Yeah. Buy your books. And next up on our list is Knights of X #4, and that comes from Teenie Howard and artist Bob Quinn. And
we getting gay.
Child. There was like the thing that has always been like extremely frustrating with Teenie and like Excalibur and Knights of X is that like you see the ideas, and when you like think about what's going on and the stuff that's being played in front of you and all that could be, you see like, oh, this is like a really good story. But the problem continues to lie in the execution for me. And I think Knights of X has been like very in the middle, like for both of those reasons. I feel like she works a little bit better in like the smaller dose where the story feels a lot more linear, like you kind of follow what's going on better, but at the same time she's still not really doing anything with it. We are still in the exact same spot that we were at the first issue. I'm sorry, no, they actually found the Siege Perilous this time. They're like in it now. We're at Mercator, but it's like we haven't really learned anything new. The last issue, they were all about saving Mad Jim Jaspers to the point where Gambit died. So they could save Mad Jim Jaspers. Oh yes, he died at the end of the issue of the last issue.
Like died in Otherworld?
Yes. So like it's a very big thing. And so this issue opens up like they're standing over Gambit's dead body, and Mad Jim Jaspers is free, and he's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get y'all a portal to go to where you need to go. And they just leave. But it's like the whole thing was about like saving him and like
But how
rescuing
did
him.
how did he die?
He was Merlin showed up, and Gambit like went at him with his little magic cards, and Merlin killed him.
Hmm. And they just left his body there?
No, so they took his body with them to Mercator, and but it disappeared when they got there because they all got separated and they were all put in these little like things. We know what the characters always got to fight themselves or their biggest fear or something like that. Betsy's fighting a bunch of Captain Britons. Richter like runs into Apocalypse. Megan sees a Brian who's like very mean to her. Rachel sees this girl Geraldine who's from Otherworld, and she's like Betsy needs help, and so that like prompts Rachel to be like, oh yeah, let me get up, and they start just going to like rescue everybody else as time goes through. The team all meets back up together. Rachel and Betsy share a kiss. Mr. M shows up. He's like, your friends are coming. We see Shogo. Oh, because Shogo's been hanging out with Saturnine and Roma, and they're like trying to corrupt his baby dragonness to whatever their means are. But he's like, we got to get to the night, so they fly them to them. But Merlin's also chasing them, and like Merlin's stuff is weird too. Like he really wants the Citadel, but it seems like he really wants to kill Saturnine. But he was just at the Crooked Market trying to get Jaspers and kill Gambit, and now he's already back at Saturnine's base and like spying on them. It's just like a lot happening. Like it's a lot to get from point A to point E, and we never hit BCD, you know? And it just becomes like a super frustrating read. I think this issue is going to be very momentous for Rachel fans. Rachel has been like a very queer-coded character for the however many years she's existed, and this is the first time she's ever been in like a relationship with a woman. Betsy has been with a woman before when she was in Uncanny X-Force by Sam Humphries. Phantom X has split into 3 different portions of himself, and one of them was a girl named Cluster, and her and Betsy got down and dirty. I know Marvel has tried to like kind of like sideline that, and people argue about it being like, oh, well, you know, it was really like a female version of her boyfriend, so it doesn't count, even though it's like it's a woman. I don't really know what's not clicking, but whatever. But like, so this is like the next second female relationship she's been in, so it like kind of confirms that bias for her. But for like Rachel, this is a very big thing. I know a lot of her fans are happy. We'll see how that goes. It's significant.
I mean, I've always thought Rachel was into women. I know that my first encounter with Rachel when I was younger getting into comics was the Fantastic Four. And like a point of one of the Fantastic Four stories was Rachel couldn't get with Franklin like in the future because their kid ends up being Hyperstorm, is like a villain. He's like a crazy villain. So they're like telling you she can't be with a man. So I've always kind of just saw the coding in her being a lesbian. So it's cool that they kind of,
and I think,
confirmed that.
It's nice. I mean, I think there's.
I've always thought Betsy would get with a better girl than Rachel. If I'm not.
And don't get me wrong, like Betsy has bad taste in her lovers, but like not that bad. Like Rachel is like a different. And my thing of like Rachel and Betsy is like they've been around each other on a very few points of their history. I think that like when they were on Claremont's Reload and then like Brian Wood's all X-Men team with all the girls, like they were very like tight. They would use their powers together and like really cool panels. Do stuff like that. So I think like the vision, even the covers now that they appear on together, they're hot. Like I think you can like make it work, but the thing about Excalibur and Knights of X is that like it just doesn't feel earned. It feels like a lot of like, especially in Knights of X, Rachel is like just pining after Betsy. Where's Betsy? I gotta find Betsy. Betsy needs help. Da, 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 da. And Betsy's not saying anything back. She's just kind of like standing there. And it's like, if you're going to give this and you want to show that this is a mutual attraction between these two women, like make it a little bit different, have them flirt, have them say some like cute things to each other outside of like, oh, I'm so worried about you. And, Betsy is like an aggressive girl. And I know like TH has been doing some different stuff with her Betsy and like she's not completely herself. But at the same time, it's kind of like, what? She's not gonna say anything. She's not gonna say nothing. It's weird, but we'll see.
I would hope that she would at least give it a little show some interest. I have yet to see the interest come from Betsy
The girl
towards
who was
Rachel.
rolling around in the snow with Neo in front of her man.
She sure did. Didn't care.
Did not care at all. And she's just like, what? So whatever, that's gonna be there. I like don't really see it for the relationship. Again, the visuals are tight. I think you can like make it work. I think there's a lot of work that needs to go into like making it work and really making it stick. And I think in the long run, if it was to last, I don't know. I think Rachel has to become like a completely different character.
Cool.
Yeah.
She's kind of like Rachel always gives me like horse girl. Like that's the kind of vibe I get from her.
Like she falls down the steps in her heels.
Yeah.
It's just not clicking for me. But whatever. We'll see. Again, people are excited. We'll see how it goes. There's one more issue of Nights left. Then the book ends. Teeny has written on her newsletter that she will continue to write Betsy and something else. We don't know what it is. I'm fearful that it's like a solo. Like a Captain Britain and like Strike or something like that. And because she said like she's gonna take a few friends along with her. Pray for the Betsy fans. It's been a few years.
It's been rough.
It's been a few years, and I think like we're not used to that. We had like a really good streak for a really long time, and so like getting back to roughness is like whoa.
And it's rough too.
They just announced that they like planned the X books up till 2024, so we might be in for at least 2 more years. So. Just keep us in your thoughts.
The Captain Britain era wasn't supposed to be like this.
It wasn't.
I didn't think it was going to be like this.
It wasn't. It was supposed to be good. When that first cover got released, baby. But again, shout out to the cover artists for their era because they're doing the work.
They carry.
If nobody else is, they're doing the work. All in all, I would probably give this issue like 2.5 out of 5. I don't like this book at all. I think a lot of the it's just like really, I'm good. And
you know what? You survived for a while. You still beside her for a while.
So I'm not going to put them out there, but I be having some of the Betsy fans. They be like DMing me, and somebody said to me, they were like, "I think you were one of the last holdouts." They were like, we think you were one of the like few. You were really trying to stick it out to the end and like do it. They were like, but I've been seeing the tweets about Nights and how you're not feeling it. They were like, but you held out a long time. I was like, I did. But we got to clear the deck now. Time to change.
It happens.
It does. Everyone goes through a period. Like I said, I've been reading comics for a very long time now. I've seen a lot of my faves go through a lot of bad things, and like Betsy might be kind of on the low side right now, but all of my others are thriving. So I'm good with that. We'll have to sacrifice somebody soon because this can't last.
See, that's how it pays. It pays to have multiple faves because you can't always win. And sometimes you got to make a sacrifice for another one.
Somebody's about to get chopped soon, so we'll find out. Well, our final book of the week is Axe Judgment Day #1. That comes from Kieran Gillen and Valerio Schiti, and it starts off like the big Avengers, X-Men, Eternals event of the summer. Everyone's fighting, everyone's here, the girls are like active. I read it, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, despite not being like super pumped for Judgment Day at all, love this issue. I thought like
I have to agree. Me too.
I thought like this was a perfect starting point. I feel like we didn't like linger on too much of what had happened before or how we got here. It was kind of like, we're here now. The mess is starting. The Eternals are like making their attacks on the mutants. They are being helped by Nasty Moira, and she's giving them some feedback. And I will say, let me tell you, that little telepathic warfare scene.
Hot. The astral projection scene. Yeah.
He comes down and he like attacks all the telepaths and they like jump into action. I need like a 5-issue miniseries about just that.
This is great. I love a good astral plane fight. Those are cool. I have to say that I think I like this premise way more than like Avengers versus X-Men or Inhumans versus X-Men. I think that using the Eternals to cause this conflict with the X-Men as far as like the whole deviance thing and like that and using their genetics and everything and that using to get the conflict going, I like that more than just like they fighting over the Phoenix Force or the gas or whatever going around for
this death cloud that you're sending around. We're asking you to stop it, and you're like, no. What?
No, right?
And
like, that's pretty bad.
It's F Medusa forever. Let me let you know right now. That's not a nice
period. So I think this premise though just seems a lot like easier to kind of digest, and it just seems cooler in my opinion. Just having the Eternals basically be coded to fight deviants who mutants can be viewed that way for them. It's a better reason to get everyone to kind of have a conflict there. And then you have the Avengers on the side, like they haven't this issue doesn't really say too much about them getting involved like in the middle. They pretty much are just trying to stop the Eternals.
Yeah. The heroes.
Yeah. The heroes are all trying to fight the Eternals. Like they have Cersei locked up and letting her know, like, we know you guys are doing something. You came in here before to get some information about this celestial that we're in, and we have been tracking your energy sources, and we see that you're like doing some stuff out there. What's going on? So I like that the Avengers are going straight for the Eternals. It does look like the Eternals, Ajak and Makari are trying to resurrect a celestial, and they're going to be using Sinister to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And
which, like,
they tell.
I don't think I like Ajak. I'm all about a holy warrior, but she rubs me the wrong way. She gives fanatic. She's crazy.
She does give a little bit of a fanatic. It's very like kind of Jehovah's Witness in a way. That's the vibe I get from that. But they're like they want to revive that celestial, and they're gonna they kidnap Sinister so they could do it. And looks like Tony is like at least gonna hear them out on how to revive the celestial. So we'll see what goes on there. And then I guess at the Hex at the end of this were summoned by Druig, and because he's gonna basically sick the Hex on the Deviants because they couldn't blow it up the way he wanted to because Krakoa is a part of the machine, and the Celestials are coded. I'm sorry, the Eternals are coded to protect the machine, so they can't blow up Krakoa the way they wanted to. So they had to just send all the. I did like the attack, like warriors or whatever that they sent over to fight the X-Men. That was really cool. And we see that Druig made some deal with even a deal. He presented his findings that the mutants were deviants to the rest of the Eternals, took a vote to use the Unimind to go against them. He won the vote, and he also voted to use any means that he wanted to attack the mutants. And one of those was Uranos, who is is he technically the uncle? But he calls him his granddad, basically. It's like the grandfather of Thanos. Mm-hmm. And he tells Druig says that he gets to use him for an hour. He's like, I give you an hour. You got to go to Rocco and shut it down. And that's what happens.
Clearly. I'm really excited to see that fight. I think a lot of the stuff with the Eternals and the Avengers, I thought was like, okay, this is fun or whatever. But it was still kind of like, I wouldn't read. But everything mutant aspect and related.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they got to that page of Uranos on Rocco, and he's holding the skull, which I assume was Cable's, and it's just you see all
that eye, yeah.
And then it's all the bones on, and you see brand sunglasses, and you see Magneto's helmet, and you just see the sun rising, and it's just oh.
He cleared it.
How did we get here?
I definitely am excited for that fight to play out. I think it looks like all the tie-ins are going to be giving you longer, in-depth things that happened within this first issue. All I know is I need Lorna on the response team, handling Uranos because
they did just kill her daddy.
The House of M does not need to ever be questioned.
Sorry about your daddy.
No.
That would be cute if they bring her on for that. That would be nice.
I hope so. It
Her
would
and
actually
her
really
sister.
her.
Wanda can come too.
Sure, that's cool.
Not Quicksilver though,
Let
unfortunately.
him come.
I mean, I would let him come, but I don't think anybody else would.
Yeah, it seems like everybody forget about him, even though he twins with the girl. But I would be okay with all three of them need to be a part of the response, especially Lorna, the mutant.
I will say they did. So I think this scene was like in twofold. So after a lot of this goes on, Druid connects to like all the technology in the world, and he starts telling people like, hey, I'm an Eternal. We know about your mutant problem, and we're sorry. We're supposed to protect you, so we're like going to kill them all. And I thought like this panel of all of these people celebrating. It's just like so unfair.
So bad.
It was like, what is going on? Y'all were just like so mad at these people about like how they like you couldn't live. They were living longer than you, and life is important. And now here they are about to be eradicated, and y'all are going off. They were crazy. But then he like brings out the Hex, who are these big kaiju-looking monsters. I'm still not really into the Hex like that, so it kind of like lost me a little bit right there.
I'm ready for the fight. I like
but
it.
Like, and that's my thing. I think it's just gonna be interesting on if they fight or if it goes somewhere else, like you said, how they like might flesh it out in other books. Because if that's the case, I'll check out the other books. Like, I'm definitely gonna be reading X-Men Red so I can find out what happened on the Rocco. I'm already reading Immortal, so like we'll see it from like some of the council's point of view. We might get some more of that psychic warfare battle with Exodus being the POV character for that.
King. I know Exodus better shut it down. I know that there's been some like back and forth with me on his retconning or whatever, but like I'm still gonna check out the issue because that's my boy. So
we're gonna see. So we'll see how it goes. Judgment Day. I mean, it's Kieran Gillen. I didn't expect it to be bad. Really good stuff. I'm ready for the Eternals to get stomped or whatever needs to happen with them, so we can go back to doing what we need to do.
Yeah, I kind of like the Eternals becoming like antagonists for the mutants. I think that's cool. They needed somebody new for them to fight.
I guess they did. That's fine. But then, like, are we making the Eternals like just antagonists for the future, or will we try and get them back to the group as good, or will we just
they'll be both
different sex?
They'll be both. I think there'll be different sects of it, but I think that like what I liked about this issue was during the talk that Cersei was having with Iron Man and Captain America, she says the Eternals aren't a team, we're a society. Like I know we all think of Eternals as like a team of people to say when we think of like the X-Men, but she's like, no, the Eternals are a society. And like my group of people left the Eternal society. So I think it'll be interesting more just the Eternals as a society having conflict with mutants as a society.
I don't know. But whatever, that's fine. They do. You're right. They need somebody else to fight. I'll allow it.
Give me something else.
What would
overall,
you rate this
I would have given this. I'd give this issue a solid 4 out of 5. I think it was a pretty solid first issue. I'm coming back considering I didn't want to start, so that's good.
That's fair. I also think I would give it a 4 out of 5. I have not decided. Fantastic art, beautiful. Like Schiti's killing it. Like great colors. I have not decided if I'm going to like continue with it monthly yet, or if I'll just like pick it up when it's on unlimited. I'm gonna like wait till I hear some reviews of the second issue. I might go like issue by issue and see what we do. But if I do it by issue, I'm end up buying the whole thing anyway. So I don't know. We'll see by issue.
We'll see. We'll see when we come back for part 2.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into the book club of the week. And child, I don't know. I don't know. So this week we read New X-Men. This was issues 12 through 18. Now, well, 13 through 18. And so it starts with the pheromone girl and Prodigy, like ultimately, like the first few couple issues of everybody like getting back together. It's a lot of like this same teenage drama stuff. And they're all basically fighting each other over the way that Pheromone Girl and Elixir, like he was playing her.
He was trying.
And Every time somebody talks to her, it's like they could wave at her and she's like, no, I'm not weak. Don't just wave at me. I'm not the weak girl anymore. They're like, girl, calm down. Like, we get it. You don't want to be the weak girl anymore. Just
She's
exist.
been burned. She's been burned, and she's got to let y'all know, because the fact that you're even coming up to her to ask her if she's okay shows that you still think she's weak. You don't need to ask me anything. I'm all right.
Exactly. That's how she's acting. That's how she keeps acting.
I'll let you know exactly when I need your help, and it's not now.
Well, it's gonna be soon because she can't do a lot. So like, her and Pheromone Boy, I'm sorry, Prodigy, they like
not Pheromone
make out. They like make out, but I guess technically she like made him do it because she wanted to kiss him in front of Elixir just to make him jealous. Again, just very like, the teenage drama stuff. I don't know. I think back then I don't think I remember reading this, because after they were having this drama, they ended up having like the prom issues of this run. And I remember back then the prom issues hit a little bit more for me than this part. I think I must have skipped this. So filling that in,
that was like really
the prom
nice.
issue is cute. Yeah. I'm sorry. I like Hellion and Sophia together. I think they're a cute little.
You like him?
Little thing.
Him and Laura?
Yes. Laura to me is lesbian.
I can see that.
I kind of always saw her being with a girl, but if she was with a guy, it would not be Sync, and it would not be Hellion either.
Well, it has been, so I don't know.
Yeah. Good point. Shows how much I know.
No, let's tell you. But no, I did like Hellion and Sophia. I think that was like a very cute little thing, like the good-natured, good-heart girl falling for the bad boy, softening him up. He's giving her a little edge, I can change it. It's all that.
We've all been there.
Okay.
But overall, like, I guess this run for New X-Men for me, again, I'm not too big on the art. Like, I'm not too crazy about the art. And I think
it was touch and go for a while.
I think I might be too old for some of this stuff now, even though back then when I was reading it, I just still felt like it was too cliche.
What did you think of the House of M issues?
First of all, I like Hellion changing his name to Scion. I just like it. And again, it feels like a bunch of like the kids being put in these like soldier-esque kind of roles because they don't really know what else to do with them when they're not in the school. Whereas I feel like a lot of the other characters when they were X-Men, like they all kind of, even though I do say I don't think a lot of the X-Men are solo characters, they still kind of, some of them still had lives outside of just being the X-Men. Whereas I feel like these like new X-Men kids,
they're
like
students.
they're students, right? I guess I didn't think about that. I guess they are just students. Maybe they still like kids. I don't know.
I guess they can get a job at Burger King or something, but it's like, what you want them to do? And then some of the managers, Serge had a job. But no, I like the House of M tie-in. Queen. I like the House of M tie-in issues mostly because it showed like an extension of some of their powers and some of the things that they'd be able to do in the future. I thought some of the changes they made around to the characters was interesting. Them making Dust a mall rat was like blew my mind at the time. I'll never forget about that. Jubilee was there again for some reason because she's going to be perpetually 15. But now she's a teenage mom, so I don't know. And like you said, like Scion using his different name. Sophia looked good. I really enjoyed the entire aspect of the Red Guard during House of M. So like seeing like the training and the different students and stuff like that there, I thought was like super dope. But I loved how they like switched it. Like you had some kids training to be the soldiers, and then like you had the kids at the school with Karma. They were training to be like the leaders and the ambassadors and the politicians. And I was like, oh, I love when stuff.
Actually, you know what? I do like the House of M issues a lot more. I think that's when it started to kind of turn a little bit. They were doing a lot more with their powers and stuff and, being little soldiers. So
You know you love the.
You know what? Yeah. You know.
Why are you sitting up here pretending like you know the into it? Because we know.
I do like the military. I do. Sorry. But I also did like that do you like the cuckoos having different personas or like different colors or something to kind of separate them, or should they be the same?
I do like the different colors. I don't like it when they actually switch their hair to be like individual in that way. But I
Hmm.
like, you know,
I agree.
she wears the green, she wears the blue. I even like what they're doing now with the whole like some of us always wear white except for one.
Yeah. Do you think that they should be a part of this age group?
Yes.
They appeared in some of the House of M issues with this. So I wondered if like should they be with them?
The new X-Men? Yes and no. Like they're a part of that class, but at the same time I think because of their proximity to Emma, they've always managed to stay like apart and do other stuff. But
Mm.
like I think there are also always
Actually,
those girls who are kind of seen as students.
they probably should be around those kids then, and like they should just be the Emma Frost of that
Hmm.
group, of that class. Um, yeah, you know what? The House of M part was a lot better.
And
Pheromone
that's
Girl
why
was still
people
annoying. She
want
went dark.
Queen when she made Quentin kill himself. Like, oh my
Yeah.
god! Like I gagged. She was doing it. Um, I think this also is like a big example of like why people want Bishop's War College or like what they want from Bishop's War College. Um,
Yeah.
I
But I
personally,
think though this should also show that like you got to slim those numbers down because
yeah,
it's too many.
you got to
It's too
get
many for
like
that.
a solid. I mean,
This was the elite girls that was in the House of M issues being the
team.
squad. So like,
Okay. Uh, I don't know. I guess I can see it both ways. I do think that there needs to be some type of pared down, like centralized cast. I want to say sometimes. However,
hmm
I look at something like, well, I guess that's not really successful. I was about to say something like a Legion of Superheroes, which has like these really large casts, but like people don't ever really be going up from the Legion books from what I see. So maybe it don't work.
no, not since a long. I feel like the Legion stuff back in the day was cool because they did like a rotating cast.
Hmm.
Like, instead of everybody having to be present and you focused on the main seven, but everybody else was just in the background,
Hmm.
they would just pick six and go.
Actually, you
um,
know what? No, I'm lying. I do think it can work. I think of something like Avengers Initiative that like was really good to have like a big cast. I think especially even now in this Krakoan era, I don't necessarily think that the War College could be its own book anymore, but I do think it could excel as an X-Men Unlimited Infinity comic.
oh, for sure, I agree. I don't know if it could be its own thing, but an unlimited comic would be probably where you would get a lot more of these characters. You wouldn't just have to focus on just the main six.
Exactly. Like you can show them going on missions, you can show training sessions, you can do a lot more with it there. I don't know, but I'm also like of the mind that I think a lot of these students who are in these new X-Men books and stuff like that should not be students anymore. I think a lot of
That's
them,
also true.
and they should either be like on other teams, like as members of
Mhm.
those teams, or like almost transitioning to like a supervisor teacher role themselves.
Reading this again now makes me realize that like I don't need to see them like doing this again just on Krakoa.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like these teams are really cool, and Sophia was owning it during pretty much all of this. That's the girl. That's the doll. I'm on her side, and she was clearing it during the House of M issues too. But
Ooh,
like,
that's Anna de Armas right there.
ooh. But see,
Yeah.
again, she's older. That's you casting her like as an X-Men, not
Yeah.
like on the squad. And that just makes me feel again like I don't know if we really need to see these kids like on squads and
I
training to
agree.
use their powers again. The same way that recently, I think it was this past week, we saw Wind Dancer herself in the X-Men Unlimited issue where she was a marauder and out there
Yeah.
using her powers. I think there's time for these characters to start doing stuff like that, where
Yeah.
they're not like still training, like
No,
they at
I
least
agree.
give them a little something to do.
And if they are going to be like a part of a war college or something like that, again, it's like they're not training to use their powers, or they're training to like work on the field with this team. It's like we're coming up with new stuff. And again, like we saw with the gala, they're working on security.
I don't need to see Hellion try to levitate a bunch of boulders. I would rather see him like out there doing stuff and like, on some missions and everything. So we'll see. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the book club, though, and we'll put a poll up on the Twitter so you guys can vote. But definitely let us know if we would like to continue on with New X-Men, continue with this run going into August, or if you want to switch to something else, you can suggest anything that you would like to see. Some people had wondered if we could go and do the X-Men Legacy era, and some other suggestions.
Your new rogue agenda.
It was a suggestion, but I'm not gonna deny it. I'm obviously gonna be about it too. That was a great era. It's fantastic for her.
Okay.
Switch over to DC and do some stuff over there. There's a lot of like DC books that I've never really finished, and that could be a lot of fun. They got a lot of stuff. It's a lot to read. Sometimes I can't get to it. But definitely let us know if you guys want to continue with New X-Men or if you want to dive into something different. Send us your messages and we'll let you guys know. And we'll definitely also, again, have a poll. But that brings us to the end of the show. We won't have a character corner this week because we did a lot of talking. And we don't want this to be like 3 hours long. So we'll come back next week with some more character corner stuff, but you guys can check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Please make sure you rate and subscribe. We really appreciate all the love and support. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram, Another Relaunch. You can email us whatever you want to, anotherrelaunch@gmail.com. You can watch us on YouTube at Another Relaunch TV. You can find me on most social media platforms at UncannyLZ. Keenan, where can they find you?
You guys know you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Keenan Lance. As always, there's an underscore at the end.
Boom. All right, y'all. Let's get up out of here and we'll catch you next week.